You guys like movies? Have you heard of movies? 2023's been a pretty good year for them. We had Barbie and Oppenheimer, and cinema's back. People are coming back to the movie theaters to watch some movies. And I'm going to talk about all the movies that I watched from worst to best. I'm going to be talking about them all. But first, a life update. I'm not using this microphone this time. I've been using it on Discord and stuff, but I know it is inherently garbage quality. So I'm using just the microphone on this, like, 10-year-old webcam that I own. And I know that's probably bad too. But I'm sure you've noticed. What's this? What's all this thing? Put the before photo right next to me. Put a photo of the Nordic gamer above me, and a picture of Leafy is here. That's the main. I guess that's all you're gonna get out of looking at this here. That's all you can really see. But it went well, and I look like this now, and I look better. I look great. I am fucking killing it. That was all. That was my life update. We all know last time I talked about some movies was the Venom 2 review, and I said, I don't want to talk about cape shit no more. I don't want to do cape shit videos. I'm sick of them. So, you know, let's talk about some movies that aren't superhero movies, because I've been watching them. I've been getting a big movie binge this year. I know I'm a big music guy, but I've been watching a lot of films. So, in terms of spoilers, if I do talk about some stuff, I will put a big spoiler warning on the screen. To probably the right or left of me, I will have the poster for the movie up, and I don't want to timestamp them because then there'll be spoilers for my top whatever list. I think it's 30 movies. So if you don't care about the movie I'm talking about, or you don't want any spoilers for it, use the arrow keys and just wait for the poster to move on the right. I'll try not to put too many spoilery visuals on the screen so you can click through it properly, and you can just be like, I don't really care about the movie. I don't really care about the movie. Oh, what does he think about that one? First on the list today, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania is my worst movie of the year. It's very much a COVID-19 movie. Like, you can tell that the pandemic was going on. Everyone feels like they're on a green screen. But it's done in a way where there's no depth. There's no, like, spinning around, and it's like, oh wow, this is an environment where I can see things off in the distance, and there's a beautiful shot. It is just someone sitting there, or standing there, and there's a background behind them. It's like you're watching your family members recording a video on a green screen going, whoa, look, we're in a thing, and they've googled cool sci-fi background, and that's the visual aesthetic of the movie. None of the humor in this movie is good. There is a sequence where there is 1 million clones of Scott, and because it's like, the second he makes a different choice, a new version of him appears, and one of them is in a Dunkin' Donuts uniform, which makes no sense, but that's the gag, that's the joke. You go, ah, he's dressed up, it's Dunkin' Donuts product placement, that's so funny. There's a character who's obsessed with holes, and that's the joke, you know, because as the audience member, you go, aha, butthole, haha. The quantum realm bugs me. It was, you know, the first movie, he goes into the quantum realm, and it's like a huge deal. It's like the biggest thing in that movie. It's like, whoa, holy crap, he's in the quantum realm. And in this, it's just like, oh yeah, it's just like a place. It's just a place they go to. It's supposed to be like, you get to the smallest possible thing, and then you're there. Like, once you shrink down to like the tiniest little level. But they don't do anything with that. Like, the sort of imagery that I would imagine is like, you have, nothing is sort of in the right scale, I would assume. Like, you would have like, this character's really huge, this character's really small. Because that's what Ant-Man's all about. He's about the different sizes of things, and they didn't do anything with that. It's just like broccoli people, and there's the whole guy, and instead of animals, they have this, and this place is rock, and this place, it sucks. It's so boring. Well, you would get that in like a alien sci-fi landscape tutorial for like Blender. I really wasn't fussed about MODOK. I don't care about that. That's like the big, like, I'm outraged at this movie, it has MODOK, and MODOK is cringe, and it's like, fucking whatever, like, I don't give a fuck, like, like, honestly, the whole character is worse. I care more about how fucking unfunny he is. Kang's acting sucked. I think I've seen a lot of people say that he was, like, the best part of the movie. He wasn't. There's a scene where Scott and Cassie are both hugging each other after they both made themselves gigantic, but there is nothing to tell you that they're massive. It just looks like a normal scene, and you can't really tell what's going on. And they make like a unfunny joke about like, oh, when you get really big, you start craving citrus, and that's the joke. The end credit scenes of this movie are all fucking ridiculous. First, we have the Citadel of Kangs, and it's all just like different versions of Jonathan Majors doing a different voice, and they're all like so stupid. It's like, oh, I'm the Kang that talks like this, and I'm the Kang that talks like this. It's really fucking dumb. You know that, like, you know the racist we was Kangs meme? We see Kang, like an Egyptian version of him, which I believe is from the comics, but it's like, you know, it's like you kind of gotta like consider the racial implications. Second end credit scene, it's a from Loki season 2, where it's like the fucking 60s or 50s, it's the steampunk era, and you have Kang is like a scientist and he's doing a presentation, and it's like, he's a black guy. I don't know, wouldn't they fucking, I don't know. Oh fuck. Honestly, like, when I saw the trailer for this, I thought they were just gonna kill Ant-Man, and I think that would have been more satisfying. Like, it's really, you come into it, you go out of it, and that's about it. If Ant-Man died, that's like, oh shit, like, Kang's like a threat now. For him to show up in a movie and he just dies, and it's like, okay, I'm just like, no, there's millions of different Kangs. It's like, fucking whatever. Like, one of them, he got defeated by, like, ants. I dropped out of Loki season 2 after they had an episode where the TVAs, they're watching all of the timelines get destroyed, and they go, those were people! Those are people and they're dying! That's been your job for the entire show, and now it's suddenly like, oh no! The Super Mario Bros. Movie. If you play this movie on your TV, put it on your TV, and then go to another room, it suddenly feels like you are babysitting a child. Suddenly it's like, oh shit, am I like, is there like a 6-year-old in my house? This really is dangling Mario-shaped keys at the audience. That's what this movie is. You'd be scrolling Twitter, and you would see some clip of the movie, be like, this is the coolest fucking shit ever, from like Koopa Guy Productions 19199223. These people are everywhere. My favorite part of this movie was the theater experience, full of like literal children. The trailers for like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles played, there'd be a kid going, that's not Mario. I don't think that's Mario. You know, the movie started, you got the Nintendo thing, the little animated pixel Mario goes, and everyone goes, oh, that's Mario. This little girl in front of me, there was the dry bones scene where she just screamed. The movie would move on for about like 10 minutes, and she would move to her father and go, where's Luigi? Where's Luigi? Where's Luigi right now? That was hilarious. That was my favorite part of the movie. There was a certain visual gag I remember laughing at in this movie. I don't remember what it was. But there was a few things, I got a few chuckles out of it. It's sort of like, it's basic stuff. I think that stuff's pretty funny. Things in this sort of just happen because they need to happen. Princess Peach doesn't have any reason to train Mario into being like Mario in this film. We're doing that because that's what happens in Mario. We're gonna move the plot along. Let's go to the Mario Maker scene. Oh, this thing happened. Okay, well, you know what we need for this? Karts. Let's go to the Mario Kart scene. It's like, fucking, what is the, you know, there's no actual reason for why any of this is happening. Yeah, so the original movie, it's like, it's taking what they had and doing something new with it, because when you do that, you can sort of like build this your own universe where everything sort of is a consistent style and aesthetic, and you can do what you want with it. Where the Super Mario Bros. Movie, it's got like years and years of different Mario shit put into it, and it feels so like weird, because like in retrospect, the Toads are from, like, Doki Doki Panic. Why would Princess Peach have these, like, mushroom-themed people? Why is it the Mushroom Kingdom? You see the scene where she was, like, trained by the Toad people, and she's dressed up as Toad, and it doesn't feel like a Mario thing. It's like, what? This is a weird mishmash of different things. Even having Cat Mario in this movie, which is, like, from the last 10 years, having that juxtaposed with, like, the OG Donkey Kong level design. It was very bizarre, because it's like, you're sort of visually watching like a crossover of multiple things. Like Wrecking Crew is in this versus Cat Mario. It's bizarre. I think there's definitely a version of this movie that could have been made where it's not slop. Even the like the celebrity voice actors and stuff. It could have been done with heart. It could have been done in a way where it's like, oh, this has passion into it. This is a genuinely good children's movie that has a message to it. But instead, it's just like a thing that you put in front of a kid for a few minutes. And if you're a Mario fan, that's enough for you, I guess. That's enough. It's like, oh, it has it's Mario. It has Mario in it. I saw Luigi. Where's Luigi? The Peaches song made me cringe to the point where I had tears in my eyes in the theater. That was horrible. I really didn't want that to continue for as long as it did. Fateful Findings by Neil Breen. This was an amazing experience. I loved watching this movie, but it is like, it is bad in terms of filmmaking. In terms of what it is bad. I have to put it down here. I have more respect for it than the previous two films, but it's not a good movie. Neil Breen is fucking awesome. Neil Breen is great. I love him. I'm gonna write this down right now. I need to watch more of his films. He's kind of like the modern Tommy Wiseau. Like, Tommy Wiseau did his shit. You know, you watch the end of the Disaster Artist, and you know, you see that he's like, it was a comedy. Everyone thinks my movies are funny. Well, it was supposed to be funny the whole time, and a movie is a success. Neil Breen, he knows what he's doing. He's not making this shit and being like, it was supposed to be intentionally funny the whole time. That's why everyone's laughing at my movie. He understands it's an indie film, but he believes this is the vision that he had. He's making that. And it's amazing. He's stuck to it. He's like, you know, this is what I'm making. This is the shit that I do. He's so much more respectable for that fact. Like, you see K, the Tortured Crossing, the movie that he's doing at the moment, it is like, man, get some cage footage on the screen. I can't believe that, where it's like, there's like a million different green screen things going on at the same time. That movie's fucking crazy. Like, because it's trying to imitate like a big Hollywood thing, and he's doing it at whatever level he can. There was a screening of K, the Tortured Crossing in my city in like September, and I'm fucking seething that I didn't know about it. Like, if someone told me that it was here, I would have dropped everything to go and see that movie. Like, dead ass. I would have. Fatal Findings. I saw someone say that the way that he edits his films is very much like turn-based combat. It's shot in a way where you see someone and they have to make a decision of what to do next, you know? It's not done in like a flowing narrative where you hear someone talking and then someone else talking, and it's a real thing that's happening. I watched this coming out of recovery from the surgery, so seeing all of the surgery visuals was very funny to me. I thought it was a very fitting film to watch. He has the mask on for oxygen over his bandages, so it's not doing anything. Love that. That's peak. That's good shit. If you want to watch some like shit and have a laugh at it, this is fucking amazing for that. But I think what's crazy about it is it's like, part of what makes it so funny is the slapstick. It's not common that someone accidentally does that. It's not common that you watch a movie that is so bad, and part of what makes it funny is watching someone stumble over and spill a bunch of fucking shit everywhere. It's hilarious. Like, that is the funniest shit objectively. To do that in what's supposed to be like a serious drama and not realize it's hilarious, like, the scene where the dad like spills the sausages on the floor. No one acknowledges it. It's just like awkward in the film. It's like, what is the intended reaction from the audience there? What were you trying to do?
Get away from me, Jim. You're drunk. And stay there.
Well, it was so nice to meet you all.
If you watch a movie like this and you get angry at how bad it is, you're like boring. It's so like harmless and lighthearted to me. I think it's so fun.
I can't believe you committed suicide. I cannot believe you committed suicide.
To watch this and be like, oh, the composition of that shot, oh, he doesn't know how to make a movie. He's so bad at this. Oh, I hate this. Like, what's wrong with you? It's fucking hilarious. It's a great film. Cracking open a coldie. Oh yeah. The Belts Show by Kate Wirtz. Kate Wirtz is an artist that I've seen around the internet quite a lot. Various places I go, someone has like a profile picture of their art, or someone's posting about them. They'll pop up on my Twitter for you every now and then. They're an artist that I like to observe from a distance, you know? Like, I appreciate the stuff they do. They make a lot of webcomics, they've made some music, they have like a whole website, and they have a very coherent style. Like, you look at their shit and it's like, okay, that's Kate Wirtz. To make all of this different stuff, it's sort of like they have their own little universe. Like, this is what the music's like, this is what the art is like, this is what the stories I like telling are. They're a very varied and large artist online. I think that's very cool. But some of the people that they associate with... Don't search Kate Wirtz on E621. I gotta put something up explaining who Forlang is.
They both have been found to enjoy some really sus stuff. Don't look up what cub porn is. You don't need to know.
So yeah, it's a bit of a rabbit hole. Yeah, maybe I don't want to associate with these people. Maybe I don't really want anything to do with them. I appreciate what they make. I was browsing the analog horror section on Rate Your Music, their film section. They have an analog horror genre page, and I found this. And I was like, oh shit, Kate Wirtz made like a film. Kate Wirtz made like a little like feature-length YouTube project. So I'm gonna watch it. I'll check it on Discord with my friends, we'll have a watch, we'll see what it's like. They have a really coherent visual style, and there's gonna be some old school digital filming and stuff in this, so I'm interested to see how that goes. And, you know, they make a whole lot of webcomics, so maybe there'll be some sort of like really well done narrative to this, and they make their own music. And I think that you can get the whole soundtrack to it all on Bandcamp too. So besides like moving animated visuals, there is a lot of stuff where it's like, okay, I want to see what Kate Wirtz's visual experiences. Let's see all of this stuff culminate in like a project that's feature length. I was very excited to see that. Knowing that it was gonna have like old school digital recording stuff, I was expecting to be a bit more vloggy. You know, they're going out to some place. It's like, let's record some stuff. This is what I'm doing right now. The Belts show is about the character Belts. It's sort of, I think it has a lot to say about like OC creation. You can make a character. Everyone a lot of people on the internet who are artists, they have a character, but what can you do with that? You can make a comic. You can draw them a million times. What is the point where it's like a thing? When can you make your OC a thing? I interpreted it as being about either coming to terms or denying the fact that like your OC will never be known by everyone. It will never be like a Sonic the Hedgehog. Even like Belts as a character is written to be very, very one-dimensional. They have like 2 catchphrases. I feel like it's done on purpose. There's a big motif throughout the whole thing where it's like, it's me, I'm Belts. Everyone knows me, I'm Belts. The only reaction we get from like other people is, Belts, you suck. No one watches this. No one knows who you are. You suck. The sequence around the start, you see like a whole lot of animations, you see a whole lot of drawings, you see a whole lot of visual stuff done with Belts. Heaps and heaps of content of Belts. And then there is no repercussion of it. You know, what's the reward for making all this content? What's the reward for putting all this out there? It's kind of about that, I think. You see Belts in like every medium. You see them animated, you see them drawn, you see someone walking around in like a dark house with a Belts mask on, you see a Belts puppet. It's sort of an experiment in like how far can I go with the same character. The animated sections were really good. If the whole thing had stuff like that, I would be really happy with it. Sadly, it does kind of like peak around the start and it sort of goes downhill. Yeah, the actual art is really good. So around the start, I was really happy with this. I think there was a lot of stuff where I'm like, okay, I can sort of see, yeah. As I've explained, there was sort of a lot of stuff where it's like, okay, I can see what this is trying to go for. I can see what this is trying to say. I'm getting something out of this. Me, personally, I can see this and I can go, oh, this is, I kind of get what it's saying here. I can relate to this. You know, I used to draw art. I had an OC. I've done stuff like that. But, what really fucking bugged me. This has a lot of commercials and VHS recordings of random things thrown into it. It's sort of, that's the vibe. It's very digital, flipping through random things. So you see a lot of like, play, start, commercial break, yada yada. At one point in this film, the words cheer for encore, and I didn't understand, that's literal. At that point, that is when the movie is supposed to end. You see a sequence of like all these stuffed animals, and it's like this like sad, moody music playing, and that's sort of like the wrap up of it. That's sort of like, that's where you're supposed to leave. Past that point is like, okay, super fans only. But it's like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to not watch the whole film? Am I supposed to drop out here? Because past that point, you see car seat headrest shows up, and it's kind of like a shitpost. It's like, Belts goes in, like, now a performance from the amazing artist, car seat headrest, and it's just them making random noises for like a minute. That's the joke. But then after that, it's like a quarter of the whole film's runtime. It's just random VTuber footage of Belts as a VTuber playing Donkey Kong Country 2, I think it is, and in the attempt to make Belts as many things as they can, they do have Belts as a VTuber, and they do include footage of it in the film. You get everything you need to. You see all these tiny little clips of here's Belts playing this, here's Belts playing that, here's Belts doing multiplayer with someone else. That's sort of all you need. It's really bizarre to me that there was like an entire hour worth of, it's just like a stream VOD. It just turns into like, let's watch Belts play Donkey Kong Country. I'm sitting there with my friend, we're watching this together, and it's like, what's the fucking point? And I'm like, no, maybe it's trying to say something about like, you know, like the worthlessness of the content and like the slop and like, here's what Belts became or something. I'm like spitballing, I'm trying to come up, why would this possibly be here? And the longer that this went, it's like an entire hour, the more I'm like, I have no fucking respect for this. This is wasting my fucking time. And then, after that, it's like, here's like 10 minutes of Belts opening up Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's like, you know, I'm sitting there, I'm like, fucking end this, fucking end it. There's a whole thing of like, we're gonna make Belts real. It's about, we need to make Belts real. The movie's bringing up the idea of like, what does that mean? What is the point where Belts is like a thing? What is the point where Belts is in the real world? Which, you know, it's sort of like a metaphor for like, the character being something that a lot of people know about. It's like, okay, now it exists, now it's in the public consciousness. Like, when we're gonna make Belts real, and then, so, you know, the whole movie, it's like, oh, well, they're gonna make Belts real, we're gonna make Belts real, that's gonna be the big third act, the big payoff, like, it's pretty obvious. And then at the end, they just have like a little shittily put together scene where it's like, we did it, oh no, Belts is becoming real, we did it, Belts is real now, bye, and there's like a picture of like Lisa Simpson or some shit, and it says, see, like, you know, fuck off, it's over. It's like, you just fucking wasted my time. Like, there was some good shit in there. Like, I'll admit, like, the first quarter was pretty fucking solid, where it's like, I don't know what the fuck is going on, this is very stylized, it's like, I'm setting up the ideas, this is cool, and then it's like, I'm just gonna fucking waste your time. I'm just gonna fucking, hey, you wanna watch me play Donkey Kong Country 2? You wanna watch a puppet open up Yu-Gi-Oh cards? Fuck you. And I have respect for this fucking artist. I have respect for the themes it's trying to tell, the visual aesthetic for it. It's just like, I don't complain that movies are boring a lot. I sort of sit there and I power through it and I'm like, yeah, I saw it. Maybe if the pacing's bad, it's like, yeah, I probably wouldn't watch it again. But this is like atrocious. I was sitting there being like, fucking end it. Deadpool, the OG Deadpool. He's kind of like the coolest comic book character because he knows he's in a comic book. He knows he's in a movie and that's so cool. Quick tangent. I keep seeing these posts on Twitter that's like,
oh my god, why is everyone leaking stuff from Deadpool 3? This is so stupid.
And then they link to the stuff that's being leaked from Deadpool 3. It's like, you're showing it to me.
Oh, does everything seriously have to be leaked in Deadpool 3? I didn't even want to see this.
And then it's being shown to me. There's a link to it right there. I'm looking at it now. It's like, okay, well now I've seen it. Thanks, dickhead. Fuck you. I sort of liked this as I was watching it. There was a few moments where it's like, yeah, I can sort of see what it's going for. It sort of is like an average tier MCU film. It's going for like the exact superhero movie formula that you'd expect. And it's not, it acts like it's a parody and it's sort of not. It's doing all of the tropes and it's not playing on them. It's not doing something crazy with them. It's not being like, oh, you expected us to do this, but really we're doing that and it's satisfying. It just is a superhero movie and it's pretending like it's better than that. There's like a whole conversation in this film where like Ryan Reynolds and some woman argue that one of them is more traumatized than the other, and it hit me in that moment. It was the scene where he says that life is like a horrible TV show and the only happy moments are the TV commercials, some shit like that. That's when it hit me. This movie is made for those people that make like the Joker Harley Quinn edits. It's like made for the people who like Family Guy. There was a moment where I was like, maybe despite the target audience, this isn't too bad. But then the ending of this film is very abrupt. It's just sort of like I think it ends with a Rickroll. I'm pretty sure it does. It's just like, yeah, it's done, we did it, it's Deadpool. This wasn't really anything. I'm very scared that this one's going to go on for very long. I have a lot of things to say about this movie. Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's. Me and my friends, we all went to a soju bar and got pretty intoxicated before we saw this. We came in right as the movie was starting, and it was probably the best possible theater experience I could have. The audience and we sort of were on the same page, where it's like we knew this wasn't good. Like there was a kid in the audience who was probably shitting himself, but stupid shit would happen in the movie that wasn't supposed to be funny, and we would all laugh. Like the whole audience would laugh because it's stupid, it's dumb. If I was sitting there and people were like screaming at how horrifying it was, I'd be like, I don't fucking know, man, like, come on. First of all, they have this big Freddy Fazbear death machine that spins a bunch of wheels at you. Why does that exist? What is the purpose of that contraption? Why would that be at Freddy Fazbear's? What is the pixel art in the intro is really ugly. I've seen a lot of people jokingly say, like, oh, you know, get it? Because the pixel art in the games has always been really ugly, but like, the pixel art in the games, yes, it's like the grid line shit is ugly and fucking terrible, but it's trying to look like Atari games. It's clearly trying to go for that. The movie pixel art is like it's like some dude trying to do like SNES visuals, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. There's like rotated pixels. It looks terrible. It looks shit. Get someone in that knows what they're doing. Mine a nitpick, mine a nitpick. I think I sort of get a lot of the choices that were made in the film from like a writing standpoint, where it's like, why would he be working this horrible, shitty job at the middle of the night? How do we get the main character to do the night shift? But like the answer to that being, oh, he assaults some fucking dude. Despite the practical use of that scene and why it exists, it's still objectively funny as fuck. The fact they've established that the main character would just beat the fucking shit out of someone like the second they thought something was wrong. Yes, it is because he has a personal connection to what he believed was going on. I sort of think Abby is like the autistic savant trope. There's a line in the movie where the aunt sort of is like, oh, Abby's got like mental problems. She's always drawing those pictures, but I think, I talked about this with people and they think you're not supposed to take that line literally. That's the aunt sort of making up excuses for why they need to have custody of Abby. But still, there's a lot of stuff done with Abby where it's like, oh, she somehow knows about the ghost kids and she has some like higher knowledge beyond, but you know, because she's a kid, it doesn't really make any sense. She's definitely like, she's like autistic coded. Can I say that? Not a nitpick, an actual criticism. There's hardly any fucking action with the actual animatronics in this movie. It's the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, and the cupcake does like most of the kills. So you don't really see Freddy and Bonnie. Their main thing is like, oh, they dance around a lot. It's mostly the cupcake. Foxy gets a few Chica is only there to do the cupcake stuff. The cupcake can fly. The cupcake is responsible for one of the biggest things in like the entire fucking lore of the series. That's awesome. That's great. I love that. I love the cupcake. I think that's such a funny character. I think that's so great that that's like the main villain of the movie. That's awesome. I love that. Put the spoiler warning on the screen. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. If you pass this point, you have seen the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Yeah, Mad Pat showed up and my whole theater just like erupted. Like, what? Huh? I was in a room where everyone fucking knew who Mad Pat was. That's pretty fucking insane. But I didn't even hear that he did the "that's just a theory" line because everyone was just like, huh? And his reveal is pretty good. It's not treated as a big deal. It's just you suddenly see his face. And that was what? He's there? The dog is in this. The non-FNAF heads, the non-FNAF people who don't know what I'm talking about. It was a fake leak character. They'd made a fake Photoshop screenshot of inside the game. I was like, what the fuck? That's fucking and no one in my audience cared. They were level enough to know who Mad Pat was, but not enough to know who was. That whole sequence, you see like a bunch of the bodies inside the suit stuff, and there's like a dead body with its face all fucking mangled up. That was pretty fucking intense. Doug is the funniest fucking character. He's only right at the start of the movie, so we were still drunk at that point. It wasn't even close to wearing off. We were laughing our fucking asses off at Doug. That's the funniest fucking shit. He's just like,
I shouldn't be hearing any of this.
Apparently, Doug's actor follows porn accounts on Twitter, so I'm not allowed to find him funny or like his character anymore. Because he's a weirdo.
Thanks, Matt.
Vanessa as a character sucks. I hate Vanessa. She only exists on screen for like dialogue purposes, for her to be like, Mike, this is what this thing is. Have you heard of Five Nights at Freddy's? Have you seen the animatronics? This is Freddy and this is Bonnie and me. The aunt's plan is to, in order to get Abby back, let's go to the place that we found out Mike works at. He works the night shift. So let's go in during the day and fuck everything up, which will do something. And then even the movie understands that doesn't make any fucking sense, so they have to have Vanessa come in and explain to Mike, actually, you're legally responsible if anything happens. Because that happened, you're legally responsible for that, and you're in trouble, mister. It's like, do you fucking work there? Do you fucking, is the dude that hired him gonna call him about this? It's not even clear from the start why Vanessa knows any of this. It's supposed to be like a big lore reveal, to be like, oh, she's William Afton's kid. For half the whole movie, you don't even know why she fucking exists. She's like a cop. Why the fuck does she know all that shit? All of the aunt's friends die, and we don't see her reaction to that. We don't really see, she doesn't really care. And then the aunt dies, like her dead body is in their house, and we don't really see them react. They would see it there. We don't really see them be like, oh shit, the aunt died, we're gonna clean up this fucking dead body. It's never addressed. You know, there's an A plot and there's a B plot, and the B plot is just missing giant chunks of it. The B plot is really poorly slapped together, where it's like, so yeah, certain things don't connect, certain things are completely forgotten about, and you're supposed to just be like, oh yeah, whatever. The funniest fucking sequence of events in this film was when Vanessa throws Mike's prescription medication into the water, saying that like he shouldn't be taking them. So then Mike goes to get more medication, and the guy at the counter tells him, this is talking to a person who is buying some sort of medication to help him sleep. He's saying like, oh man, you know what really helps me sleep? Some warm honey and some warm milk and some cookies. That's what helps me sleep. And then Mike's like, shut the fuck up, I need my medication, fuck you. And then the guy just goes, asshole. Like, what the fuck? It's like, no one's actions in this, like, in what's going on make any fucking sense. The scene where the animatronics are all really cutesy and fun and, like, friendly with Abby is, like, stupid and fucking dumb. Like, the song that plays sucks. It felt really out of place. Like, I get why it's there in the movie. It's, you know, you get your guard down. It's like, oh, everyone trusts them now, and then they can attack afterwards. It's like, oh, there's actually some tension now. This is fun. But everyone's just sitting there being like, what the fuck is this? It would be justified if the animatronics fucking did something, if they would showed how fucking evil they were at first. Instead, it's like, aren't these guys the villain of the series? Oh, but they're supposed to be kids. They're haunted by kids. So obviously they're gonna act like kids. You fucking idiot. It's a bad scene. It sucks. It's like tonally, like what the fuck's going on? You got the scene of like Bonnie falls down and goes, we're all good, and we're all laying on the backs and go, yeah, we built a pillow fort, we're the best, we're awesome, fighting as the FNAF gang for life. It sucks, it's shit. That part of the movie specifically, it felt like it was sort of made for the Tumblr fan art kind of FNAF fan. Oh, I'm really into the children's pizza place aesthetic. Even like the current state of the fandom, it's more about shit like that than it is the actual horror. Yeah, of course they catered towards that kind of people. There have been some weird ass fucking people I've seen talking about this movie on Twitter. Not saying weird things as in like, oh, that's uncomfortable. That's not a very appropriate thing to say. It's people who like I think they don't normally watch movies. I saw someone say that Vanessa is night-coded and Mike is day-coded or something like that. It's like, what the fuck does that mean? What sort of movies are you watching where that's a normal thing to say? Like, I'm not outraged, I'm not angry about it, but it's like, these are the people who are like praising this film. I was really bugged by the spring lock scene, the scene where they set up how the spring locks work. You have this tiny little animatronic character where it's like, I guess like a child would fit in it. They point a broom close to it. It's not even touching it, and it slams shut and snaps the whole fucking broom off. That's a death trap. That's fucking, no one could ever wear that. It would kill you instantly the second you fucking touch it. As the viewer, it's like, okay, that's what a springlock suit is. I guess there's these suits lying around that will, like, snap your fucking limbs off. Okay, that's pretty scary, that's pretty cool. And then the big climax of the movie, it's, oh, William Afton's suit is a springlock suit. He's been wearing it since Vanessa was like a little girl. You see him in the photo. It's, okay, so they're not that sensitive, even though that's how they've been presented to us. And then the cupcake flying up out of the air and biting the side of him, which somehow like tears a hole in the fucking suit. That's what causes all the springlocks to go off. In the games, it was the constant condensation of the roof leaking down, and that is one of the most like iconic scenes in the whole series. That is the OG death of William Afton, and it's caused by the fucking cupcake. That's awesome! It's awesome! I liked the scene where Vanessa says, "If I ever see you around here, I will shoot you." That was good. That was funny as fuck. In the trailer for the film, we hear the like a big FNAF theme like 20 fucking times. Like it says dun 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 dun, and then 2 seconds pass, dun 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 dun, 5 seconds pass, dun dun dun, and then another thing happens, dun 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 dun. It's like a million fucking times. It's annoying as fuck.
There are ghost children possessed. What do they want?
They want to make her like them.
Papi!
It's in the movie one time, and that is the Living Tombstone song at the end, and it samples it at the start of the song. For some reason, Foxy doing like the that's in the movie twice. Like that gets more time for some reason. Actual criticism, not a nitpick. The movie feels like it's too good for jump scares. It feels like jump scares are beyond it. You have the Balloon Boy fake out jump scares where it's like, boo, ha, got you, lol, isn't that funny? Wouldn't that be so stupid if we did a movie with jump scares in it? It's the fucking Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It's the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. It's the fucking, like, it's a franchise that's entirely based on a video game where jump scares like the whole thing. use that. Do something with that. Fucking where's the horror supposed to fucking come from if that's not what you're doing? 3 fucking kills in it. Okay, big whoop. Fucking the scene where Golden Freddy is in the taxi. How the fuck does he get in? How the fuck does he fit in that fucking taxi? You see his head's fucking ginormous. Golden Freddy shows up in the taxi with Abby, and my drunk friend goes, "Not another furry with their child bride." I didn't like Matthew Lillard in this. I didn't like him for the same reason I didn't like Kang. I feel like he's very, "Oh, I'm the evil character, and I'm doing evil things, and he sucks. It sucks." Oh, he made up for the whole movie. He was the best part. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I didn't really like him as the role. I didn't like it because he still has that like stoner dude energy. I think William Afton isn't really a very consistent character throughout Five Nights at Freddy's. My favorite interpretation of him is in the books where he's like a senile fucking like crazy person where he's like, "I'm gonna fucking, this is my work, I need to staple a bunch of fucking robot parts on me." If you're basing him off of like the fucking mini games and shit. The animatronics look good. Animatronics look fine. I thought I was gonna be fussed with the fact that like they couldn't physically move Foxy's legs, so they would have to shoot like. There's that one shot in the trailer where he squishes the ball pit ball. It looked really bad. You could tell it's just someone holding a leg and pushing it down. But there wasn't a moment where I was like, "Oh, it looks like shit." Like there wasn't a moment where I'm like, "Oh, CG looks bad." It's whatever. It's fine. That's what a lot of people are going in for. It's like, we can finally see them IRL. That's that. You did it. Boom. The big dramatic scene at the end.
Abby, if you draw a picture showing everyone that Springtrap is bad, then all of them will turn good again.
So she draws this, like, it's this cartoon children's drawing of an angry yellow rabbit, and it's got, it cuts to that and it goes, "Ba-ba, ba-ba, ba-ba, ah." It's like really intense, and it's like, whoa, look, but it's a stupid kid's drawing. It looks dumb. My whole audience laughed at how fucking stupid that was. It didn't make any fucking sense. Alright, I brought this up with some friends, and this is future Baxter here, just to add a little extra little detail here. I brought this up with some friends, and they pointed out to me there's a sequence where the kid that represents Golden Freddy draws a picture of the Springtrap animatronic. So all of the kids essentially know that William Afton killed them, because that's what he's showing. "Oh, I know who killed your brother," and it's like, well, you would know that he killed you as well. You know, obviously they would understand that. And the whole end narrative of the film is like the big reveal of like, William Afton was the one that killed you guys. Like they already knew that. That was already shown to the audience. Just another plot hole, just another nitpick. Keep going, me. Bad movie suck. Make FNAF 2, I'll be there. I'll give you money. I will buy tickets. I'll be there. I'll be there day one, baby. Dawn of the Dead, 2004. The Zack Snyder one, not the other one. I don't remember a single fucking thing about this movie. If you asked me to name like a favorite scene, I'd be like the one where the guy has the whiteboard on it. He writes things on a whiteboard. And there's like a dog, I think. I liked when the zombies ran fast and they were driving in the car. It's cool. It's very 2000s looking. Like all the colors have been pulled way fucking up. My one criticism, the one thing I want to talk about is a big spoiler, so. The end credits of this film, it's like, the movie ends, the good guys saved the day, they did it, everything's cool, everything's awesome, we did it. A lot of them died, but, you know, 2 of them survived, and they got it through. What an adventure. Credits roll, credits are going. Boom, this, ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Music turns down. Some, like, found footage style camcorder stuff going, where it's like, "Oh, it's us, we're the two guys that survived at the end of the movie, we're so cool." Bam, 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 music comes back in. Red text, produced by, blood splatter. Bam, 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 music turns down. Well, camcorder footage. "Oh no, this stuff has like the zombie disease on it. Oh no. Bam, 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 bam. Oh my god, we're like, there's like a bunch of zombies. Bam, 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 bam. Oh, we're like dying and we're dead now and we just died and we're dead. All the people in this movie are dead now." The whole, like, we had a satisfying conclusion, the movie ended, and I was like, that was a really good ending. Everyone's dead. Everyone's dead now. End of movie. And it's in this unwatchable state where you're being, like, interrupted trying to watch the fucking movie. Like, the end, the true ending of the movie, I guess it's fucking stupid. Power Quatsi. This is the sequel to Kiana Squatsi, which I believe The Simpsons did a parody of it. It's about technology intertwining with nature, and I translate the word, it means something cool. That's what the movie's about. It's a lot of cool shots with some cool, like, synthy music over it. Look at these cool things, look at these cool things. Boom, 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 boom. It's like that, it's cool. It's non-narrative, it's telling a message. It's cool. I made a short film that was just like it in high school. It was great. Power Quatsi is the sequel to Kiana Squatsi. It's a whole lot of footage of some, like, foreign third world countries where you as the viewer get to, like, oogle at these people and go, oh, they've got, like, they're like covered in mud. Whoa, they didn't have an iPad. What? I didn't get anything out of that. I can't sit there and go like, oh, isn't it crazy how they didn't have technology and we do? They're like cavemen. And that's like the whole film. There's like a very short sequence where they show some like cool like it's kind of like drone footage, but it looks like it's a camera dangling in the air, showing a bunch of like, showing a big city. And there's some like CRT screen visuals where it's sort of fading through like waves. That was really cool. That was like the best shot in the whole film. I loved that. But that was all I liked about it. That was pretty much it. 3,000 Years of Longing. Apparently I watched this year. This was very early in the year. Once again, I don't really remember much of it. It's all very disjointed. It's about, I'm a genie, and I'm gonna grant you a bunch of wishes. But here's some stories. There's some times they granted some wishes, and it didn't go so good. And he tells the stories. There's not much of like a building tension throughout this movie. Everything is sort of like a flat line. Things happen, and more things happen, and more things happen, and then there's an ending, and that's it. It's not like, oh, she's really gotta start doing these wishes, because it's done in this like narrative way where it's like, there's a story, there's a story, there's a story, there's a story. It's all about telling stories. That's what it is. The A plot is, I don't really want to wish for anything. I don't really have any wishes, actually. You know, you could just go away, you genie. And the B plot is 3 different things. The B plot is, check out this story, check this other story. So none of them really like build up to anything. I liked when there was all the fat ladies. That was cool. That was, I don't know where we got all those fat ladies from. That's pretty impressive. That's pretty cool. One of the umbilical brothers shows up in this. That's a real like Aussie deep cut. I didn't like the ending. I didn't like how it ends. What I can remember of the ending, it sort of gets really like, he sees technology and he's like, I've got magic. But they got technology and it's sort of the same thing. Whoa, isn't that crazy? I'm a genie. We're in love. And it's like, what? It doesn't feel like the movie was leading up to that, because the movie was all these different fucking things. It's like to end it that way. It's like, I don't know. This counts. I'm counting it. It has a portrait-shaped cover. The Dark, Sad Life of Boogie 2988. This was shockingly well put together. I saw this thumbnail and I'm like, oh, what is this? A fucking, like, another one of those video essays. It goes on. Here's the entire history of his entire fucking life. But no, it is a documentary where someone went with Boogie for a certain amount of time to, and you know, hung out with him, recorded some stuff. It's crazy that this even got fucking made, that this even got released, like, because it makes him look fucking terrible. Like, there is, not even from the sense of like, oh, he's done these bad things, but it's like, here's the scene where we address the fact that Boogie says the N-word, and here's the scene when we address the fact that he's kind of like pedophilic. They set it up at the start of it. They set it up at the start where he's like, my ex-girlfriend was really into a lot of very childish things, and then it's like, okay, now he's with like someone who is like half his age. Okay, well, yeah, that's set up and paid off, obviously. Like, you know, you sort of have to like, oh, this is something that, you know, you have to, because you want a good. He hangs out with Boogie, and hey. Oh, there's a fucking flying. This fucking fuck. The Creator by the guy that did the Rogue One. I watched this twice in cinemas. I got invited to it a second time. A really strong opening. I liked the old-timey AI and robots. They're around. It's the cyberpunk future, but it's like the old times. Ooh, isn't this cool? Isn't this interesting? And then big explosion happens, and they have this fake presentation of, I'm the government man, and we're gonna do something about these damn AI. There is no more AI. We're banning AI. AI bad. It's like Twitter. This movie has the aesthetic of the cyberpunk art you would see like generated with Midjourney. It really does feel like a modern cyberpunk film. It's not taking from some old like 80s, 90s movie. It's doing its own thing. It feels very modern. It's like a mixture between like mid-journey cyberpunk art and like off-white graphic design. The clothing label, you'd see these little text things pop up and it's like, oh, that's like something you'd see on like streetwear. That's cool. Best scene was when they have these people who are being paid to clean up the giant fucking nuke explosion that happened in like AI City or whatever the fuck. They have this girl there who's like clearly not experienced with it. She's been like watching like TikToks and she's like, apparently the AI was trying to steal our jobs. And then one of them goes, well, yeah, they can fucking take this job. This sucks. I hate this. And there's an android there. He gets turned back on by accident and he's freaking out. He's like, where's my daughter? I need to see my wife. So she freaks out. It's like, that was like a human. That was like a real dude. And the main character of the movie has to go, it's not real. They're just programmed to do that. And then later on in the movie, that gets thrown back at him when he gets very emotional about what's going on. Someone goes, it's just coded to do that. It's not real, dum-dum. I love that. That was an amazing scene. The scene with the Radiohead song seems to be like what a lot of people talked about in this. It's like, oh, what's your opinion on when they played Everything in Its Right Place? But I was more shocked when they played a Hatsune Miku song later in the movie. No one's been talking about that. Yeah, I really liked it on the first watch. I thought it was really fun. I had a really good time. I Radiohead played and I saw your face. I was like, oh, Radiohead, epic, this is so cool, this is so cool. Watching it a second time, it really fucking fell apart. The third act of this film, you see, so he's like on like a fucking rocket ship and he's climbing a rocket ship. He needs to do this thing and the rocket ship could drop down at any moment and it like, oh fuck, it does.
Alfie, great job, we got 10 minutes. Get back to the shuttle right now.
And then it cuts to something else. And it cuts back, and he's already somehow climbed out of that area that was for the rocket ship. He's in space, and he's already at some other spot. He's fine. He's in some spot where it's like, oh, I'm running out of oxygen. Alfie, you gotta go to some spot and do this thing. It cuts to some other thing. It cuts back. Alfie is literally all the way on the other side of the spaceship already. It cuts back to some other thing. It cuts back. Alfie's back. He's just traversed the entire fucking thing already. It's just stuff like that, where everyone is conveniently in the spot that they need to be through the magic of editing. Where it's like, it doesn't matter how long it would have taken them to do that, they're already there. They're already doing it. It reminded me a lot of the Garfield movie.
Okay, we gotta find our train. Let's see what happens when I do this.
Boston Express, switching to track
Well, I'm sorry.
18.
Folks in Boston are gonna be a little late today.
What's going on? Sir, we've lost contact with Flight OX1 and changed course.
Yeah, really, really sloppy third act. I really lost interest. I was sitting there just being like, when is this fucking thing over? This whole thing's supposed to take place in the future, and like the only difference is they have like the cool AI stuff. There's no like butterfly effects or anything. There's no, like, you don't see the effects of like, what's it like having all this AI stuff around? What has resulted in that? What is the culture like? Everything's just the same, except now there's robots. That's it. There's never a moment of like, this is this thing, and it's used for this reason, and it does this, and no. They just do it. They just use it, and that's sort of, you learn, like, as you see it happen. I liked that. That was very well done. Bah! It's Future Baxter from the future! So, after I started making and recording the stuff for this video, I watched Leave the World Behind by Sam Esmail. I'm a big fan of Sam Esmail's stuff. I love Mr. Robot. I was excited for his Metropolis show that got cancelled. I think it was going to be recorded in Sydney or something. I was disappointed that didn't happen. And Mr. Robot was originally going to be a full film until he realized his idea was like too big and he needed to make it a TV show. So I'm like, oh, whole fucking Sam Esmail movie, I'm up for that. And there is connections to the Mr. Robot show. The events in the movie are very similar to the 5-9 attacks in Mr. Robot. And you see the E-Corp logo on one of the computers, which sort of confirms, like, yeah, okay, this is the same world as that show, but it doesn't really mean much. This is getting pushed around by losers as a anti-white propaganda film, because it's about some black dudes own a house and a white family comes in to stay in it. And then a big horrible event happens and the black people come in and it's like, hey, can we stay at our house for a bit that we own? And there's like a line where one of them says like, you know, oh, I really don't trust these white people, you know, and it's like, the opening scene of this sucks. I hate it.
And I remembered what the world is actually like. And I came to a more accurate realization. I fucking hate people.
Bitch, I'm really out for blood this time, look. I
just came.
It was very, very cringe. That's what this is. Lots of really wanky cinematography. Like, there's all of these shots where it's like, whoa, look what we're doing with the camera. Look at this angle. Whoa, look what we're doing. Or there's a scene of the whole family running, and it's like the camera's perfectly positioned to move along with them at the same time. So they're always centered in shot. It's all of this like super, super wanky, like, oh, so satisfying. A lot of the dialogue for the kids was really bad and like embarrassing. Sam Esmail likes to do a lot of referencing texts and other pieces of media within his work. I learned he has a bunch of letterbox lists where it's like, here's all the stuff that I was inspired by and referenced and took inspiration from in this thing that I made. And they do a whole sequence where one of the kids is like, this reminds me of the scene from this TV show that wouldn't make any sense to watch. And the mum goes, why would you watch that TV show? That doesn't make any sense.
I watched like a season of it or whatever, yada yada yada.
She explains this entire plot line of this whole episode, and then, like, that's the explanation for a major plot point that happens later on. Whatever, it doesn't really work. All the jobs in this movie are treated like superpowers. The main character works in advertising, and she's like, because I work in advertising, I know exactly how people's minds work, and I know how to manipulate people, and yada yada yada. And then the big black dude, he works in stocks, so he's like, man, once you spend your whole life seeing those stocks, you know exactly how it's going to go up and down, and I can read the future now, and I saw something was coming, and that's how I knew this big, horrible thing was going to come. The whole movie is kind of like an okay episode of Black Mirror that goes on for too long. I'm not 100% certain about this place on the list. It might be a bit lower. I just watched it a few weeks ago, and I'm like, fuck, where have I got to fit this? And it's really hard to edit this together and put it all in, and I'm like, I guess I was more satisfied with it than I was the creator. I'll put it above the creator, because the creator was on that same level where like my friends really liked it, and I'm like, I don't know. Spoiler discussion from spoilers from now on. I'm going to talk about the plot and some stuff that happens in it. Are we gone? Is everyone gone? Boys only? Alright. Is the scariest thing that America can imagine really like a war happening in their country? Like something bad happening to them? Like, the final shot is, oh no, there's an explosion in the city. Where something bad is happening to us. Oh fuck. The movie establishes all of these countries that America has fucked over, and America has used these same techniques to fuck with and destroy, and now it's like, oh no, it's happening to us. Oh, it's so scary because it could happen. Not to mention that the movie was produced by the Obamas. Like, that brings up a whole can of worms. That's why it's getting thrown around as like, this movie's anti-white propaganda pushed to you by the Obamas. Michelle Obama wants you to believe this. The whole thing with the kid's teeth falling out really bugged me, because this is supposed to be like, this is a cyber attack. They're attacking the computers that control the satellites, and they're doing this through the internet. But then it's the sound waves that are like shot out through the whole country, I guess, were responsible for fucking up his body, because he didn't block his ears fast enough, so his teeth started to come out. This is like a lefty movie. You know, gotta get the vaccine, you gotta get the vaccine. And people made up all these crazy fucking things like, oh, but if you get the vaccine, this is gonna happen to you, this is gonna happen to you. But then this movie is like, oh yeah, if there's a cyber attack, your teeth are gonna fall out. Like, it feels like a conspiracy theory fucking anti-vax bullshit thing. So I looked this up, and there's a Screen Rant article. This is a quote from Sam Esmail. I want to be careful how I answer this. I think it's a nightmare. I think the movie's a nightmare. And I think that, in nightmares, things happen that are inexplicable. So what's the point of the fucking movie? Boom! Let's talk about... Wait, focus. Let's talk about Videodrome. I was interested in watching myself a little Cronenberg movie after I saw Creepshow 3. I'm not here to talk about that. That's years ago I saw that. But that has a sequence where there's this girl and she's covered in all this fucking like gore and slop, and I'm like, that's fucking sick. It looks awesome. And everyone talking about that movie is like, they're trying to do a Cronenberg, but it sucks. And I'm like, I want to watch a fucking Cronenberg. It's awesome. I didn't really get much out of Videodrome. It's got a little bit of that stuff, and it's like weird, but I didn't really get the effect of like, what the fuck? That's so fucking crazy! Ah! Like, the movie's designed for you to react that way. Like, what the fuck did I just watch? What the heck? Yeah, it was weird, but it's like, that's about it. I liked the way that TV was shown in this. I'm a big sucker for the like CRT screen style, and they're sort of shown that way, where it's sort of like TV is like a foreign concept in this movie, and I like that. I think that's a really interesting way to portray it in the movie. I'm gonna continue watching some Cronenbergs until I get that itch scratched. I'm waiting for it. One of my friends keeps pushing The Fly for me. That's high on my list for next year. I'm gonna watch The Fly. It's gonna be good. It's gonna have a good time. Videodrome, not really for me. Didn't really get much out of it. It wasn't much. Banjo Euro? Alert. It's another YouTube short film that technically counts because it's on movie websites. I think I'm a fan of this because you can tell it's old YouTube, you can tell it's kind of early CGI stuff going on, and I feel like if someone were to make this today, it would be really tacky and like, yeah, you whatever, I'm trying to be random, but because this is 8 years old or 13 years old or whatever the fuck, it really does have like a level of like genuineness to it. I'm not sure if this was like a big video when it came out. I searched for it to get like the poster and stuff, and I've seen a few like little bits of like fan art and stuff, and it's like, okay, maybe this was like a thing, but I don't know if it was in the level of like Salad Fingers or something. I don't know if people were referencing this and mentioning it all over the place, but it's coming across it now. I think it's really cool. I think it's a really neat little piece of neat little YouTube project, neat little YouTube short film. Next movie, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Similarly to The Creator, this movie also features a Hatsune Miku song for some reason. Once again, not a lot of this really stuck with me. The Rocket Raccoon stuff is all fantastic, that's great, but then you ask me to sort of remember what the plot of the movie is besides that, and I kind of go blank. They go to some planets and they do some stuff, and there's some stuff that happens, and there's a bad guy, and the bad guy's great. I like the bad guy, I think he's awesome. I like the whole revenge plot they did with that. That's great. All of the alien planets are fantastic. All the design work they do in these movies is fantastic, especially when you look at it in comparison to Ant-Man 3, where it's just like everyone's on a little green screen. The stuff on this feels like they're actually in an environment and they're walking around it, and there's people there, and it feels lived in. There's these different planets which have little different gimmicks and different things going on. It's great. You can tell there's passion put into just the design work, and that's fantastic. It's great. So they go to this planet that is made by the main villain of the movie, and his whole thing is he's kind of got like this god complex, and he makes these planets, and then he goes, oh, that planet's not good enough, we're gonna nuke the whole place, I'm gonna make a new planet. And he makes like entire species and races of people, and they go to this planet. They go to a planet where everyone's like animal people, but then I think there's a sequence where they find all of these kids in cages. They speak this language that was made up by that species, and you know, they have to get them out of the cage or something. They have to get them out of the cages or something like that. The way that like whole sequence wraps up is Drax reveals that he speaks that language, and it doesn't make any sense in the plot how Drax would understand what they're saying at all, because that language was made up by that species. How would he have ever gone to that planet and learnt that language before? But yeah, that's a very very fucking random pick. I don't have much to say. I was scrolling through my Snapchat memories this morning, and I saw a picture of myself coming out of it, and I went, it was good! So, I liked it at the time. It just hasn't really stuck with me. There hasn't been much in it where I was like, remember that scene in Guardians of the Galaxy 3? That was so good, that was so good. But I think I can maybe say that about the first two to an extent. I think I could probably pick out moments that I liked in those, but not this one. Remember when Rocket Raccoon sang Creep by Radiohead? Rat film. Despite what you may believe, this actually isn't a film about rats. It's a documentary about something I won't spoil, but it starts with an S and an R. So what it's doing here, rats are the topic, and then it's sort of using them in a way to talk about a much bigger problem. There's metaphors involved, but it's also sort of showing that thing's connection to rats, and then comparing them to rats and saying how those people were treated like two rats, and then showing literally how rats are treated in Baltimore, and then showing, hey, here's the ways that Baltimore was built. Oh, here's the way that they build rat containments and stuff like that. I've seen people say that this is very much made for Baltimore. Like, if you're from Baltimore, it's like, oh, this is a Baltimore movie. I love the opening line of the movie, the opening sequence, what that's showing and what the narration is. I'm not 100% like smart enough to understand what the movie is about to like 100%. I can't say confidently that like, oh yeah, I get what it's trying to say about, but I feel like that opening sequence, that opening line really explains the connection between what they're talking about. Outside of the film, it was revealed that 2 of the dudes in this are actually actors, and yes, that's sort of like a shitty thing to do in what's displayed as a documentary, but I feel like this can get away with it because it's kind of like, it's a little bit beyond a documentary where it's not, once again, it's not literally a movie about rats, it's trying to say something larger. So in order for them to get to that point, it's sort of like, let's bring these 2 dudes in, and it was specifically, they're like rat fishers on the streets with literal fishing rods or whatever, and they go into like a 7-Eleven. Oh, we're here to get some rat bait. They really like meat and mustard and shit.
We're gonna get a 1/4 pound of turkey breast, man.
Yes, sir.
You know, I guess turkey has a stronger odor to it, or, you know, oil-based. Kind of like chicken. You know, and peanut butter just gives it that extra.
So, basically, I get 2 chances. So, same thing if he was fishing for spot, perch, stand.
Yeah, I didn't think it's a big deal that those guys aren't real. Did they really progress the story, the message that the movie is trying to tell? I have a few shots of them just standing on the road being like, yeah, we hunt for rats on the street. It's like, I don't know. I love all the Google Earth stuff in this. It's traveling through Google Earth in like this 3D environment. The narration is done in this really like romantic, futuristic way that was really fun, where it's talking about, in Google Earth, like the bottom of the floor will like, you'll clip through it, and you can see the stars through it, and it talks about that in like a really magical way, the way that the stuff is rendered, and then there's a whole sequence where they start using Google Maps Street View footage, and they sort of talk about each of the stories that can be told through just the kind of people that you see recorded on Google Maps, including, there's like a great sequence of like, there's an old lady going up the stairs, and each time they travel to like a different area, she's still on the first step. If you were to go through Google Maps in your area right now, you wouldn't get the same experience that that movie's giving you. There's sort of like a huge emphasis on technology in this. They use like an itch.io game. Here's what it would be like to be a rat. You get these cool shots like that, and then we're talking about snakes that eat rats, blah blah blah. And then when that scene's over, it cuts to like some dude, like a modular synth, shooting out lasers and shit.
I normally get 300 live pinkies and fuzzies a week. And then I go through another 200 larger mice.
It's like, okay, that's fucking awesome, but I don't know what it's like. I don't really know what the correlation is. The Google Maps stuff, it kind of reminds me of if you were to watch like a screensaver on acid. The one thing that I don't really think connected with what the movie's supposed to be about is all of the forensic analysis stuff. They go to like this whole museum type thing where they've made all of these live scale replicas of houses where like a murder or a suicide or someone's died in it. And it's designed for like wannabe cops and forensic analysis to go inside and find out all the little clues, or essentially figure out what's happened in this room. What's the big deal? What's happened here? It doesn't really connect with anything else in the movie, in my eyes. I do think the movie is making a great point. I think what it's trying to tell is fantastic, but it doesn't do a very, very good job at doing it. I think there's a lot of tangents that it goes on that are very aesthetically very cool. I did think the forensic analysis stuff was really fascinating. I thought the Google Maps stuff was awesome, but at the same time, it's like, what does that have to do with... It kind of goes over my head a bit. I'm not big on socioeconomic issues. I feel like if that's something that you know plenty about, I guess skip this one, but if you're like an average fucking dude, if you're an average dum-dum that doesn't know about socioeconomic issues, then it's good. It's really fantastic. It's a lovely little thing. I feel like I would like to rewatch it with someone who is a little bit more educated than me. I think it's a good movie to sit there with someone, have them pause it and go, this is interesting because, you know, in this time this happened and blah 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 blah, and it sort of starts a bit of more of a discussion. What the flip? What? Alright. I am splitting this video into 2 parts. This is gonna be almost the end of part 1. You know, part 1 is gonna be dedicated to mid and bad movies, and part 2 is just gonna be all bangers. These are all the movies that I thought were amazing. But there are 2 movies that I didn't record anything for because I watched them right at the end of the year. I'm going to talk about them right now. South Park, uncut, uncircumcised penis joke. I'm not a big South Park person. I sort of started watching them as they came out around the time like Cupid Ye came out. Besides that, I'm like a TikTok South Park person. I got into South Park not because of it, but around the time when it was showing up on everyone's TikTok For You page. I was watching like full episodes on TikTok. I did watch the Pandaverse episode, but I'm not gonna count it as a film. It was pretty good. I think the South Park movie, it's turning like 25 this year now, and it's pretty aged. It reminds me a lot of like the sort of audios that old people use on TikTok. It reminded me a bit of that. It was fun. It was nice. It's, you know, you look at like Family Guy, and then you look at like Family Guy merch, and it's like, when you're a kid that hasn't watched Family Guy, it's like, you make up this version of what you think the show is. I feel like this is that for South Park. Like, South Park is like horrible and vulgar and terrible, and you look at this and it's sort of like it's kind of like flanderized in a way, where it's a lot of like, oh, the character did the catchphrase that they always do. That's funny. Ha 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 ha. But it wasn't bad. It's here on the list. Next movie. We're gonna end this video the way it started, wearing a Christmas hat. For Christmas, at the end of the year, I watched Jingle All the Way. I had thought I had seen this movie before, but I was mistaken, maybe. I didn't remember, like, any of it. First of all, Arnold Schwarzenegger is very strange in this role. Normally, he is, like, a big action dude, and it's like, let's try and push Arnold as, like, he's a family man. Arnold is gonna play the average American dad in this movie, and when you're watching the movie, you can sort of see the script and see, like, okay, this is... I understand what this character is supposed to be like and how they are, but in the least offensive way I can, Arnold's just pronunciation of everything, it just pulls you right out of it, because he's so weird. Anakin is in this movie, Kid Anakin, and he's in it, and he acts exactly the same way. That's pretty fun. All the slapstick in this was really great. It's all really fun. I like genuinely funny stuff for what it is. I loved the neighbor character. I love the trope where it's like, he's just better than the main character in every way, and like it enrages the main character. And the main character's kind of a fucking dick. He kind of does fucking suck, but it's great having this character there who's just like rubbing it in of like, I'm so much better than you. I'm the best. I'm so good, and you kind of suck. You should do better. But then he ends up being an asshole anyway. Spoiler warning, but the spoiler warning up. It's very pre 9/11. There's a whole sequence where there is like a black guy with a bomb, and he threatens to bomb the whole place, and you know, that's a joke in this film. Me personally, I laugh extra hard because it's like, oh, the racial implications of that are fucking horrible, and it's funny that a movie this lighthearted is doing a joke like that. But I can sort of see, hypothetically, you're a black man watching this with your family, and the punchline is like, haha, look at this black guy with a bomb get harassed by the police. Isn't that hilarious? Like, I can see how that sort of kind of sucks to some people. I'm white. That's Jingle All the Way. That's a stupid, fun movie. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching a whole fucking hour of me rambling about stupid fucking movies that weren't even that good. Some of them had a lot of properties that I thought were kind of cool, but they weren't the best ones. If you want to listen to more rambling about fucking stupid fucking movies, I'm gonna have well, eventually there'll be a part 2. Eventually. At some point. But that's all for now. You get 1 hour. Now, off with you. Out of here. Get out. Get out of here.
I am really smart like a genius.
Thanks, Matt.